So, funny story. I just recorded my second vlog for the documenting our move, and because I use my Oculus Pro headset, VR headset, it defaulted to that microphone, so nothing recorded. So I'm redoing that video now. So if you haven't seen the first video, we are moving. We are moving from Kentucky to Georgia, and I felt like it would be a good thing to record this and maybe can offer some advice to people along the way. So during the first video, kind of detailed how we were doing some virtual house tours. We weren't coming up very much luck. Well, lots happened since then. So I got my official job offer. Not the final one. I had a contingent one, but the actual final one on Thursday. It's now Thursday, a week later. We're in contract with a house. We have a closing date set at the beginning of October. And so we've obviously skipped ahead several steps. So what happened? Well, we're in a very fortunate position. We're able to buy our new house before we have to sell our current house. So I say very fortunate that we're able to do that because that makes us time much less. Now, we wouldn't necessarily have to do this if it wasn't for the fact I'm doing an out-of-state relocation for work, and I'm starting, the second week of October. Well, it kind of depends on how you look at it. And so my two options were, we sell this house first and then we move, and I go down there and I'm just living out of a hotel 5 days a week and driving back and forth. Thankfully, it's not that far away. It's about a 5.5 hour drive depending on traffic and stuff. So it's doable, but certainly not a preference. Why? Because I'll be just throwing that money away to a hotel. You're not actually putting it into some kind of sort of equity or anything. So I'd much rather pay for another mortgage, at least for a short time frame, and now at least it's getting some amount of equity into a house instead of just throwing the money away. So obviously that's not possible for a lot of people. We were just fortunate to be able to have enough assets. I knew when I was wanting to make this change that we'd have to, liquidate some stuff, and we did, and made it till we do this comfortably. Then when we sell the house, we'll have a very nice nest egg at the end of it. So what I suggest, tips, especially to help move it along faster. Found a really good realtor down there. So at the end of this, if they feel good, I'd like to give them a shout out and everything, because if you're West Atlanta or the Atlanta metro area, I would highly recommend this realtor. Doing a fantastic job. She was running around doing a bunch of virtual tours. She's been great every step of the way. Other thing, I got my pre-approval letter done by a major lending company who has our current one. But once we had it done and we were looking and we were kind of finding something, went to my realtor and said, hey, do you have a recommendation for some local lenders? She did provide some. I went with one of them. Why? Because they're able to work for you, basically. So you go with a big one, they'll give you a generic letter and stuff, but they're, not really focused on you. Get with somebody that's a local lender and somebody has a great relationship with your realtor, and they're able to make that happen very quickly. Guy's answering, first conversation with him was on a Sunday, and, we're texting back and forth Sunday afternoon, working around the clock, basically. And that's that kind of service you get. And again, he's done an excellent job so far. His whole team, not just him, but his whole team has. So it's another person I want to help, probably recognize at the end of this, because again, highly recommend it. Had choice between a couple people. One was a little bit larger, and one had a ton of great reviews and everything. And one was a little bit more smaller. But I tell you, can't recommend it enough. And that's a similar experience I had last time when we moved here to Kentucky. Got our pre-approval from a larger banking firm, but then went with Benchmark and Bradley Hacker in Lexington, Kentucky. So again, if you're in that area, they did a tremendous job. It got us closed in like a 3-week time period. So was very happy with them, and I'd highly recommend that if you're in the Lexington area or some Georgia area now. So I went with somebody local there. He's doing a fantastic job. Excellent job. So very fortunate with that. Definitely want to always have your documents in order. So just make sure you got your last couple of years of your W-2s. Make sure you've got some pay stubs. If you're starting a new job, make sure you have an official offer letter. Make sure you have your HR representative's name, email, contact info, because they'll probably want to validate that stuff. If any money's transferred, so if you're like liquidating some stocks, if you're moving stuff around, pulling out of this, make sure you have a clear paper trail on that. So your statements go back. You're always going to want your bank statements to go back because they're going to need to know where the money came from if it's being used towards a down payment and stuff. So make sure you have that information. And it's a clear paper trail, and it all makes sense. And it makes sense to go very fast. Have that on hand, so when they need it, you can go, boom, upload it, and it's done. Like this morning, they sent me an email saying we need go back a month on this, get you, we're going to pay off one of my car loans, so it's going to be like, what's the payoff good for this date, et cetera, et cetera. 10 minutes later, I got it all uploaded, So make sure you have that stuff on hand, and if you don't, make sure you have the contact info for you can get it set up. Start looking at the home insurance people. That can get a little wonky sometimes, and you want to, so like I use Geico right now for my auto and home insurance. Called them because it was natural. Okay, let's get home insurance for the new place. For some reason, just came back and said we couldn't offer your policy. It was something weird or whatever, but I said, you know what, I'm not going to hassle with it. So reached out already to a couple other places, getting quotes back and everything, look to see what the best deal is going forward. But have that information, have the numbers you need, have that all, and do it quickly. And then they can move faster on their end. Moving wise, we got some estimates from some full service movers, and I also got some estimates from like pods and the do-it-yourself stuff. Here's what I found out. In our example, it was the full service pack and everything was about twice as much as pods, and if we were going to hire local movers and stuff. So again, if you're moving local, you got friends, you got family, you got people you can utilize, doing the U-Haul, doing other stuff like that, it makes sense. It's a lot cheaper. Yeah, you're going to work hard, but you get it knocked down, you get it done. If you're moving across a state, but it's not too far away, then doing a full service move may not be the bad idea. If it's a substantial distance away, that's when you may want to look at the pods. So I think there's that dividing line right there. So I knew some people, they were going to be moving, and it was like a 24 hour drive from one end to the other. Full service move was like $30,000. Well, that's a lot of money. Now for us though, it's like quoted about $11,000. Make sure you go to a good place, not just a moving broker is going to farm it out and they're going to lowball you with an estimate. You need someone that's going to come on site. They're going to do a thorough job, look at all your stuff, and do a real good estimate. We have a lot of gym equipment. I had that all itemized. I knew how much everything weighed. So I told them, look, it's going to be 6,101 pounds, all this gym equipment. Tell me what the quote is with or without, and the difference wasn't that great. It was a couple thousand, because my plan was use full service movers for everything except for the gym stuff, and then we're going to use pods for that. But it was going to end up costing us like $4,000 for the pods, and we were going to have to move it all. With the full service movers, just have to disassemble it. Still going to help them out, move a lot of it to the garage from a walkout basement, but still, it didn't make any sense to go with the pods. It was actually going to be more expensive to do that. So we're going with the full service movers, which is beneficial. The other reason we did that right now, got some personal level stuff, especially my wife and some family members, with some illness and everything, and it just going to be better overall for us to be able to do that. I'm starting a new job and got everything that goes along with that, so trying to minimize how much stuff we have to do on the back end. Other thing I highly recommend, make sure you're running some type of thing. If you're using a spreadsheet or a tracker or something to keep your track of your finances, I started a very simple Excel sheet, and I have where we started, like before any down payments, before any appraisers, any of that stuff, where we started. And then I have what's coming in, and then what's coming out, and then it pops out a number. So if say I liquidate, I had $19,000 worth of stocks, shares in this one thing, liquidate it, boom, goes into the add. Automatically our end number goes up. That's okay. Well, I just did the home appraisal, $500, 50. Boom, that's going to take it off. Something else, inspector. Because remember, before you do that, you're going to have to do a home appraisal. You're going to have to do a home inspection. Well, you don't necessarily have to do a home inspection, although I'd highly recommend you do a home inspection. Highly recommend it. I tell you, it's very thorough. Don't not do it. They can find very little things. It may not be a big deal, but at least you know about it. And then you can go maybe fix it. Or if it's a new build or something like that, you talk to the builder and say, you're going to need to fix this before we go out there. So, like, we have a fantastic house, but apparently it's got an HVAC system on the first floor and the second. And the HVAC system on the second floor is not working right now. So it's in great shape. It's new, but they just need to make sure it's fixed. Have the home inspection done. So you're going to have those costs. You're going to have to do a good faith deposit, which is generally, let me do some math real fast because I can't remember what it is off the top of my head right now. There are about 50 million things right here. About 2%. So about 2%, or it might be just a certain percentage of your down payment. Let's see. Maybe 20%. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's a good faith deposit. So you're going to have some money ponied up front. Depending on what kind of loan you have, if it's conventional, if it's a FHA, maybe it's a VA loan, it's going to be different things. As far as down payment goes, it's not like the old days where you automatically have to have 20% down, and maybe it makes sense not to put 20% down, depending on the circumstance, if you're not buying it outright in cash. Minimum, I think, with it's a 3.5%. My recommendation, of course, is to put down as much as you can as long as you're not going cash poor. You don't want to go cash poor because you don't know what expenses are going to pop in. So, and it may be a case, if you don't want to liquidate certain things, it may be a case of you may run in a fairly close thing. So you may keep, say, $100,000 on cash and, maybe checking savings, whatever, easy access. So you're not going to get penalized or you're not, whatever, easily accessible. Well, through this move, you may want to bump that up a little bit. So you may want to bump it up, but you may only, you don't really want to liquidate some stuff. Some stuff could incur penalties, or some stuff you just don't want to because it's not performing well. So you may bump it up, but you still don't want to go too much into it. So whereas you could drop, $200,000 on a down payment, but you may not want to because then you're going to end up in a situation where you might only have 20 grand on hand when all said and done. Maybe 20 grand is not enough because who knows what expenses you may run into until you get to where you need to be. So again, that's where you got to make that thing. Mortgage lender can help you, but ultimately you have to decide for yourself. So at different points in my life, there was a point in my life, if I had $5,000 in my bank account, I was doing tremendous. And there's other points in my life where if I'm down to like 50,000, I'm like, what the fuck? What's going wrong? That's all going to be on a personal level. I always recommend too, don't go house poor. Don't, just because you can say, okay, well, I can afford this much because this is how much I make and this is how much I have left over at the end of it. Just remember, it never really works out that way. Everything costs more money nowadays. All said and done, keep it in, perspective. How much is your car payment? How much is this? But 28 to 29, maybe 30% of your gross pay monthly for a mortgage. So try to keep it within that reasonable realm because you don't want to go house poor. Not with everything costing more money nowadays. It's my tips on that stuff. It's going to get crazier here, obviously, but we're in a pretty good place right now. Everything is going as well as it can be. Looking forward to the new house. Hopefully I'm get a spruced up, maybe a little more fancy studio to do my recordings. For all my legions of fans out there, all the Magnamaniacs and everything. I did put out a good video today, or at least what I felt was good, was nuclear warfare in relation to, or naval warfare in relation to nuclear warfare. Or nuclear war at sea, basically. How does nuclear weapons affect naval strategy and warfare using command modern operations? Haven't done that recently, but it's such a fantastic sim and everything, and was able to test some stuff out, and I look forward to doing more of it time permitting and everything. Obviously, I'm starting a new job out. Got to move, got other stuff. It's affecting me. We haven't trained for like almost a week now. So we got a lot going on. But hopefully maybe hit the gym tomorrow or something. But drinking a beer right now. So anyways, enjoy. Maybe I have another video tomorrow, actually, if I can, utilizing some more of the Command Modern operations because I'm enjoying doing it. But I want to make sure I'm testing it out and everything. So who knows? Maybe I'll get another one tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.